Okay, so for my topic, I chose, does Instagram have a positive or negative effect on our society? Yeah, give you a second to write that down. Okay, so why I chose social media and Instagram? So I chose social media in general just because I feel like it's relevant to today, and I just wanted to know more about it because I feel like most of us use it and we just kind of overlook like its benefits and its consequences. So can I get a raise of hands of who here has a social media account on any platform? So pretty much everyone. And then keep your hands raised if you have an Instagram account. So pretty much same people. So, yeah, I just chose Instagram because for people our age, I feel like it's the most used and it's just the most relevant for us. But social media can go anywhere from Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, anywhere. But for people our age, Instagram is the most used. For people older, say Facebook is definitely the most used. So here's social media use around the world. As you can see on the bottom graph, it's been at a steady increase since 2014. So there is 3.96 billion users of social media across the world. And then that's been at a 10.5% growth every year, averaging around 376 million each year. And 99% of those people are accessing it through their phone. Okay, so the pros. So some positives of social media is that it's a great way to access news. I feel like most people get their news through social media nowadays because people don't get newspapers anymore. And it's a great way to just reconnect with people. I know I have friends and family outside of state and it's easier to connect with them through social media. And then it's a great way for companies to promote their businesses. I feel like you can spread awareness and service to others very easily nowadays, and it's a great way just to get things out there in general. And so this graph at the top here is, so it's comparing just normal users to businesses of each of the apps. You can see there. Okay. And then negative effects. So there's a lot of negative effects for social media, and most of this can lead to loneliness, depression, and anxiety. There's just a lot of stressors that affect our brain when using social media, and it's a very dangerous addiction for people our age because we're growing up with it, and it just makes it worse for us. And most of us don't really think about it. I know I don't really think about how much time I'm using on social media most of the time. And yeah, so this can lead to a lot of depression. And so one of the main stressors of social media is FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out. And when you're checking Instagram or something, I know you can get jealous of others, and then there's just a fear of missing out that you're not being there all the time. And yeah. And then social media has also increased cyberbullying. I know it's a lot more common to see cyberbullying on something like Instagram and Snapchat nowadays. And so yeah, we have this picture at the top. He's just addicted to being on his screen. So yeah. Okay, so here's this YouTube video.
Do you sometimes find the fear of what could happen is making nothing happen in your life?
With social media sites being used by 1/3 of the entire world, they've clearly had a major influence on society. But what about our bodies? Here are 5 crazy ways that social media and the internet are affecting your brain right now. Can't log off? Surprisingly, 5 to 10% of internet use should control how much time they spend online. Though it's a psychological addiction as opposed to a substance addiction, brain scans of these people actually show a similar impairment of regions that those with drug dependence have. Specifically, there's a clear degradation of white matter in the regions that control emotional processing, attention, and decision making. Because social media provides immediate rewards with very little effort required, required, your brain begins to rewire itself, making you desire these stimulations, and you begin to crave more of this neurological excitement after each interaction. Sounds a little like a drug, right? We also see a shift when looking at multitasking. You might think that those who use social media or in websites are better at multitasking, but studies have found that when comparing heavy media users to others, they perform much worse during task switching tests. Increased multitasking online reduces your brain's ability to filter out interferences and can even make it harder for your brain to commit information to memory. Like when your phone buzzes in the middle of productive work. Or wait, did it even buzz? Phantom vibration syndrome is a relatively new psychological phenomenon where you think you felt your phone go off, but it didn't. In one study, 89% of test subjects said they experienced this at least once every 2 weeks. It would seem that our brains now perceive an itch as an actual vibration from our phone. As crazy as it seems, technology has begun to rewire our nervous system, and our brains are being triggered in a way they never have before in history. Social media also triggers a release of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. Using MRI scans, scientists found that the reward centers in people's brains are much more active when they're talking about their own views as opposed to listening to others. Not so surprising, we all love talking about ourselves, right? But it turns out that while 30 to 40% of
Okay, so basically what that goes over is just the effects of dopamine while using social media. Because I know that when we create increase of dopamine, it talks about the low risk, high reward. Something like posting on Instagram and just receiving likes. It's such a low risk, but you get so much out of it in just that small time, and that just creates an addiction. It's such a short increase of dopamine, but we just crave it more and more. So here's my solution. My opinion, I think we could just get outside more and stop using social media so much. I think we've just started to rely on it too much, and so what I started doing is setting time limits on my phone, and I think that's just a great way to you can still keep going on it, but just keep it to a limited time because we were spending too much time on it. And then for most of us, social media has just become an everyday thing, and I just feel like there's a lot of negative effects to come from it, despite the positive. And my biggest takeaway from researching this topic was just to be aware of how much time we're spending on it and how much energy and money as well. And yeah, there's my work cited. Any questions? Colin.
Did you find info on other apps besides Instagram?
I mostly focused on Instagram, but I found a lot on Snapchat, and it was just basically the same thing. Just that. Berkeley.
What's your favorite social media to use?
Probably Instagram. So that's why I wanted to focus on it. It's just, yeah. Jackson?
Would you say that, kind of like playing video games would have a similar effect on
Yeah.
people's brains?
And I feel like video games have less of a positive effects. I feel like because of spreading news and reconnecting with others, social media has an edge on video games and such. But yeah, the addiction I feel like is the same. Savannah? Oh.